Hello, hello, and today we're going to talk about the roadmap in Guild Wars 2. Last week we got the studio update for Guild Wars 2 in 2023, talking about a lot of important stuff, a lot of new things, and essentially a big change in how they make the game. Usually we would get expansions, then more story, expansion, then more story, blah blah. But according to them, and I would agree with them, they have had a lot of problems with that in terms of inconsistency and not being able to balance the game and not being able to do everything they need for the game by trying to put everyone in the team doing the content that's coming on next time, having big droughts with nothing, and having a lot of uncertainty in terms of what the game has, what the game is gonna get in every honestly type of game mode. But now they want to do another stuff, the path forward. They want to essentially do what you would call mini expansions instead of big expansions in the world. That they would, presumably, and I would probably think this around the time where they're gonna, put this kind of system. I mean, put this type of content once a year, or maybe a little more than that. But I would expect that these mini expansions are gonna come once a year or so. The big thing about this mini expansion thing is that they're going to do a mini expansion and then free updates, quarterly free updates, until the next expansion. Right? First, they're going to give you 2 maps, then on the expansion, 2 strikes, and then 1 map and 1 fractal in quarterly updates, and the CMs of the strikes in quarterly updates after the expansion is done, and the content, essentially that content, until the next expansion, so there's no downtime at all. This way they're gonna get essentially content for everyone, balance for everyone, and way more consistently, and everyone will be, everybody will essentially know what we're gonna get each time. What does this consist of, though? It actually consists of, let me see if I completely forgot about this. Have it here. Well, essentially we're gonna get each year with this mini. Well, I shouldn't say each year because that's not confirmed. I would just assume so. We're gonna essentially get each of these mini expansions as 3 maps, 2 strikes, and 1 fractal. Right? Of course, story updates. Gameplay features, masteries, all these things, of course. But that's gonna be in terms of content, the big things. Now, I actually took the liberty of making this beautiful, this little Excel sheet with how much we would get before with expansions. And on average, right, we would actually get, this is 2013, 2014, every one of the years World Guild Wars 2 has been released, and how many maps, how many strikes, blah, blah, blah. And we actually had, and in 10 years, we essentially have gotten, in 10 years, we essentially have gotten 27 maps of an average of 2.7, 36 raid strikes in an average of 3.6, P maps 8, so 0.8, fractals 11, and 1.1, Warsaw maps 2, DRMs 5, mounts 8. Guild halls 4. Now, I would honestly not really care about those things that much because they were kind of like whatever. But essentially, fractals 1.1 a year, strike bosses or squad or raid bosses 3.6 a year, and maps 2.7. So in the new plan per cycle will be 3 maps, so a little bit more than maps that we usually get. Strikes 2, a little bit less than we usually used to have before. PB maps, I mean, that doesn't really say anything. Fractals 1, so essentially almost the same. And in these World of Slow maps, DRMs, mounts, and guild halls, honestly, it's kind of hard to tell. But honestly, I would be very surprised if we didn't get mounts during these simulations. We're probably gonna get mounts, depending. Maybe not every expansion that we're gonna get mounts, but probably a lot of them. Guild halls, probably as well, a lot of them. DRMs, I mean, that's kind of dead, but whatever, right? So I do think that this is very cool for in terms of content, because we know the biggest problem we usually had before is we didn't really know what we were gonna get. Are strikes dead? Are not? They're not dead. Are raids dead? Are they not dead? Are fractals dead? Well, now we're gonna have a consistent flow of content, which is pretty nice. And I would bet that if this works and they can continuously doing it, they can continuously do it. I think it's pretty possible that we're gonna get even more with time. Now, another thing is that a very important part of this is also that they didn't really mention elite specs. They only mentioned gameplay features. So it's probably gonna make. I mean, I guess they could stay with elite specs, just not do 9 a year or 9 every mini expansion. Of course, they could maybe divide it in like 2 each year or 3 each year, or maybe they can give weapons. I'm gonna do another video about that. Honestly, there's a lot of possibilities they can do to give the class fantasy a little twist, and of course the build players that like building. Changing their character in a different way with new traits and everything. Another thing to play with. It's definitely possible. It doesn't need to be elite specs, to be honest. And honestly, this elite specs have always been like a very Guild Wars 2 thing that is like no one else does. Like 9 new classes every expansion. That's so insane. That's very insane, right? No other MMO does something like that, right? So it's pretty insane that they actually did this in the first place. So I do think that elite specs eventually had to die, even if they continue, because honestly it's not confirmed. I do think it's a very big possibility they will stop doing them, but I guess we'll see. Other than that, I do think it looks pretty good. The roadmap, the new type of way they're gonna approach things, I think it solves a lot of problems that AINET has had over the years. And actually, the first patch we're gonna get is on the February 28th. New Guild Wars 2 End of Dragons map story story content, probably a meta as well. Swan legendary variant, very nice. We're probably gonna get as well with the mini expansions, legendaries, a lot of stuff. Honestly, anything that could come in an expansion is probably gonna be able to appear in a mini expansion as well. But I guess they'll have to market that and tell us what it's gonna be, right? But yeah, we're getting a few little interesting things this year, at least on the first half. And I would guess, because they said that in the first half of the year we're gonna get the fractal and the second part of the map that we're gonna get on 28th. So I would guess that's gonna happen around later May or maybe June. And after that, we're gonna get the second year. Actually, I have no idea what we're gonna get, because maybe I'm on copy. I don't think I am. I think it's pretty reasonable, considering that they essentially said that the big thing about this mini expansion thing is that they're gonna do a mini expansion and then free updates, quarterly free updates until the next expansion, right? First they're gonna give you 2 maps, then on the expansion 2 strikes, and then 1 map and 1 fractal in quarterly updates, and the CMs of the strikes in quarterly updates after the expansion is done, and a content, essentially that content until the next expansion, so there's no downtime at all. So this would make me think that after the first half of the year, when all the content is gonna be released from the first part of EOD, the free part of EOD after EOD, I would assume that in the second half of the year we're gonna get the mini expansion. That would make sense. That's what they essentially saying that they're gonna do. Not explicitly that we're gonna get that content that second half of the year, but they did say that they didn't want any downtime and we were gonna get quarterly updates. I guess we could get a June patch or July patch with the fractal, and then maybe an August proficient balance update, and then they give the second mini expansion. That's definitely possible, but I do think that the new expansion has to come very early, because there's no content to fill it with, and the point of this new roadmap, new way of delivering the game, is to have no content routes. So if they don't give us the mini expansion very, very fast on the second half of the year, in my opinion, they're essentially already, kind of failing on what they want to do. I could definitely wait a little bit for sure, but I think considering that this is the idea of it, they're heavily implying that this is going to be the case. Now you might disagree with me, but that's what I think, and I think that's going to happen. I think we're going to get a mini expansion, a new expansion of Guild Wars 2 on the second half of the year, 100%. And I'm very excited about that. I'm also very excited about the Chromium update that we didn't actually get on the 14th. We're probably getting it on the 28th. I'm pretty excited about the X11 upgrade. I'm pretty excited for version balance. I'm very excited for this, for the Fractal as well. So I hope that happens very fast, and it's very good. And I'm excited about the whole idea. I think at the end of the day, if ANET does say what they're saying here, it's looking great for Guild Wars 2. And if they fail, well, that's not good. That's horrible. That's sad. But I do believe in them. I believe in Grant. I believe in other people that are saying that. I believe in ANET. I do believe it. I think they've been doing some great stuff, and even if they they don't have the advantage right now in terms of in terms of being, they definitely have a lot of problems right now. The game has a lot of problems that they have to fix, and they're trying to juggle that with a lot of content they have to do. And I think they're doing their best. I think they're doing pretty okay, even if we're still missing, more. But that's the video. Tell me what you guys think about it, and I'll do the video for Elite Specs right now, and I'll publish it in another day. Boom, there you go. Have a good one, guys. Love you all. See you around. Bye-bye.